The following moments may contain explicit language.
It's alive!
Welcome to where the weird ones are.
Every time I speak, I want the truth to come out.
Powerful figures in Hollywood, as well as powerful politicians who are in fact not human. They're reptiles, or they're lizards, or perhaps extraterrestrials.
I don't think it is a human. I think it's a Sasquatch.
Go ahead and run! Run home and cry to mama!
Let's get weird.
What's up, you fucking weirdos? Welcome to another episode of Where the Weird Ones Are. My name is Kevin, but you probably already knew that, and if you didn't, now you do. Today's episode is with Mark Lemaster. He's out of the great state of Florida. And he has a really interesting Dogman encounter. It's pretty fucking terrifying if you ask me, to be honest with you. Um, but yeah, he talks about that encounter. He talks about a couple other weird encounters that he's had, and just the weirdness of Florida in a whole, or at least his area of Florida. Um, but yeah, it was a good chat. I really enjoyed listening to his story. So, with that being said, let's give a shout out to the sponsor, Flavors of the Forest. It is raw garlic dust, Bigfoot's breath. It's really good, super potent. I highly recommend it. So head on over to flavorsforest.com, get yourself some. You can also follow them on Instagram, Flavors Forest. Nelson and Matt, phenomenal dudes. I have to say that. Fucking great dudes. I'm happy to have their support, and yeah, and the all the other affiliated podcasts. I was recently on Paranoid Radio with Trebles Garcia. If you guys are interested in checking that out, wasn't really ghost. Um, it wasn't about really my encounters. It was more about my mental health stuff that I faced throughout my time on this earth. So, with that being said, I have a book here. I also have a book here that you guys should check out, The Epic of Esau, written by Justin Doc Brown, my good buddy. But I wrote a book myself. So this book is more of an introduction to, to the characters and to the story and all that stuff. Um, it's super quick. It's a quick story. I could have put more into it, but I will say that it was originally meant to be a comic book, and now I transitioned it into a book, and I am currently working on book 2, which has to do with this story of book 1 will go into book 2. So, but you can find this on Amazon. So here, I'll show you again. And then if you're watching and you want to pause, here's the. Actually, you know what? I'll read it for the listeners too, the people who don't watch it. But a boy gone missing, a father found hanging, a monster in the woods. Kevin Weirdson and his loyal Staffordshire Bull Terrier, Rizzo, are known for finding the lost, especially when others have given up. But when they're called to investigate the disappearance of a 12-year-old boy in the quiet woods of Maine, they quickly discover this is no ordinary case. The deeper they go, the stranger it gets. A mutilated body hanging from the trees, a trail of massive clawed footprints Locals whisper about a creature that hunts under cover of pine, a creature that's been feeding for generations. But something more terrifying lies just beneath the surface, a secret tied to bloodlines, legacy, and a curse passed down through family trees. Some monsters are born, others are inherited, and this one is hungry. Um, yeah, so if you guys are interested, it's on Amazon. I'm pretty happy about it. I'm stoked. The following books are going to be bigger and longer than this one. I just wanted to get the introduction to the characters and what they do out. Um, so yeah, so it's technically basically me, but last name's changed, and my puppy dog Rizzo. I felt like it was a good way to immortalize my best friend. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna have with her. So, um, what else? I think that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Why don't we get into the stories that Mark has for us, shall we?
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Let's get weird. Let's get weird. Let's get weird. Let's get weird. Weird. Get weird.
Hello everyone, it's Connie over on the YouTube channel Talk Spooky to Me, and currently you are listening to Kevin from Where the Weird Ones Are. Enjoy!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode. So happy to have you here. Today we have a pretty interesting Dogman encounter story from Mark. Mark, if you don't mind saying hi to all the 2 people that listen to the show. Rero. We just lost Mark. We done lost Mark.
I lost connection. Hello, everybody. My name is Mark. I live here in Florida. I'm 42. I had a wild dogman encounter about almost 5 years ago now.
So, real quick, just for a little background on you, Mark, did you ever experience any kind of like paranormal, anything cryptid
I've
before
had
this
a
encounter
lot of
5 years ago?
paranormal throughout my life happen. Strange things have always seemed to happen to me that I just can't explain. I still can't explain, but I've never had a cryptid encounter until last year, or till about 4 years ago, almost 5 this summer, around July.
Okay.
I
All
was
right.
37 at the time when it happened. I'm 42 now.
Okay.
And my friend Brandon is no longer with us. He lost his battle to bone cancer.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
And he
Was he
one of
with you during the
Yes, he
encounter?
was with me, and his son was with us too at the time.
Okay. All right. So, well, I guess I'll just, give you the floor, and you can tell your encounter story. But before you do so, I just want to let you know that just because we're lagging, the video and everything will still come out all right. Okay.
Okay, no problem. My name is Mark. Hello, everybody. Hello,
All right.
audience. Thank you, Kevin, for having me. This takes place when I was 37 years old, about 4.5, almost 5 years ago this July coming up. I never came out about it, never spoke, but my friend Brandon was battling bone cancer since we were in elementary school. That's how we met. Nobody would help him, so I stopped what I was doing because I didn't live far from him. So I went to help him to fix his vehicle to get it back running. It took us 4 days before we finally got it running. And we finally got it running on that fourth night, and we needed to test drive the car to make sure everything was going to run right before going out on the highway, which was not that far from his house, probably less than a quarter of a mile. So we came out of his driveway, and it was woods back there. There's hardly no houses back there. It used to be old railroad that ran through there to the lime rock pits from way back. And so we decided to go back there to turn around just to test drive the car to make sure, like I said, to make sure everything was going to work. And we were coming back, and we needed to stop because Brandon needed to use the restroom, and so did I. And we pulled over on his little dirt road, and we went to, as soon as we were about to get out the car, that's whenever everything happened. It just like, I had the window down a little bit because I was smoking a cigarette in the passenger seat of the car. Brandon was driving. His son, who was probably 11 or 12 at the time, was asleep in the back seat when something hit, or what we thought hit the car, ended up being landed on top of the front hood of the car. It shook the car so hard I thought we were going to roll over on our side. The kid woke up in the back seat. Brandon and I looked at each other, and excuse my language, but we said, what the hell was that? And there was a dome light inside this two-door Buick that he had, that my friend Brandon was driving at the time, but the dome light didn't work. So he had super glued 2 LED lights on the back of his rear view mirror to shine out. But they lit up more than just out whenever they did, but you could see in what's out on the car. And I turned those on without looking up, but when I heard, after I turned those lights on, and Brandon turned on the headlights to see if there was anything in the road, I had my head down for maybe a second and a half. But in that time, as I turned those lights on, because I didn't want to blind myself by looking at them as I turned them on, because I wouldn't have been able to see what was out there. As I'm looking down and I'm turning on the lights, I could hear this fear in Brandon's voice that I have never heard him say my name that way. The way he said my name, Mark, look. I just never heard that fear before in his voice, so it scared the hell out of me when he said it like that. And as I looked up, that's when I saw what appeared to be standing on the front hood of the car was probably anywhere from 7 to 12 foot dog on 2 legs. Giant. The thing, I could make out every detail of what I was looking at, because at a minute I'm like, this can't be happening. And I was thinking at that moment, and I was like, whoa. And I was about to get out of the car to use the restroom. And no, I'm glad I didn't, because I would have never seen it coming. But this thing, even though we were in a car, this thing was so big that if it wanted to, it could have got in the car. And it did try. It put a gash in front of the passenger windshield of where I was sitting with one little finger. Put a gash in the windshield, put a big dent on the hood. The only thing that I seen all the muscle patterns, didn't take the muscles. I could make out every muscle on it. The ears were pointed. It had that irrigated snout just like a dog. This thing made a football player look small. Made a wrestler look short. It would have midgeted. It would have made Andre feel like a midget. Andre the Giant. He would have looked small compared to this thing. I could see the veins in its forearms. And what threw me off was the eyes, because I've seen all kinds of animals throughout my 42 years of life, but I have never seen eye shine like that. This thing looked like it had its own headlights. Like they were glowing. They were a gold, yellowish color of an ember in a fire, that golden glow color. That's exactly what those eyes look like. I seen one of the canines in the light, and just one of the canine teeth that I saw looked like it belonged to a T-Rex. The tail also threw
Holy
me off because
shit.
this thing didn't have an ordinary dog tail. This thing had a tail of a panther, like a big cat tail. It didn't have a normal dog tail.
So just like a smooth fur.
Like a smooth, round cylinder tail. Black. But you could make out the human features in this thing
Wow.
too. Like this thing had human in it. It was scary, man.
Dude, I can imagine.
I'm still haunted by that thing. I was afraid to talk about it. I was afraid of the government trying to silence me because of the details that I have of this thing. I mean, I remember watching the TV show Sightings growing up, and I remember a lot and thinking about all the sightings that people have had over the year, but nobody has been able to identify or have the details of what they saw. But I do. And I don't ever want to, that's something I don't ever want to see again. I can tell you that. I don't want to go looking for it because this thing had to, from what it looked like to me, this thing had to be an alpha. Had to, because it was huge.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's menacing.
It was terrifying, man. I don't even think I could have used my phone to take a picture if I wanted to because I was just in fear. I've never been in that situation. And I think we were just at the wrong place at the wrong time. Because like I said, this thing was big. If it wanted to get into this 2-door Buick Regal that we were in, an old classic Buick, it would have ripped the door off like it was nothing. But the only thing I can logically think of to keep this thing from attacking is that we had a kid. But then again, these things are known to attack whole families. So I don't know.
Wow.
But it was legitimately terrifying. I wouldn't go looking for it.
Dude. I did. Yeah, no, me neither. I'd prefer to stay far from that.
But I got enough picture in my head. I've been willing to sit down with a sketch artist that can draw wild animals like that, and I can describe what I saw. They could draw it. Have you ever seen the movie Dog Soldiers? Have you ever seen a movie called Dog Soldiers?
No, I have not.
Oh man, that is a great werewolf movie, but the creature that I saw was similar to what's in that. It made the werewolves and the howling look small. What I saw.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Dude. So I also, I had an experience that I think is a Dogman. And I know my listeners have heard it several times now, but I'm gonna share it with you too, just in case you haven't. But so it was 2016. I had just split up with my ex-wife, and she had the kids that night. And I had gone to bed so that I could get up for work the next morning and stuff. And I lived out in farm country in rural Maine, and coyotes would come into my yard pretty often. And one night,
in Florida,
I woke up to my.
It's all farmland out here where I live at in Florida. It's nuts. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you don't have to apologize. But yeah, so I woke up to my dogs barking and scratching at the wall underneath the window, and I'm yelling at them to shut up, and I threw pillows at them, and I could hear coyotes outside, and I'm like, I just got curious. I got up and I looked outside, and I could see them. There's a little bit of a tree line. I had a rock wall and inside this tree line, but it wasn't like thick trees, because right on the other side was this big haying field, and the moon was out just enough to cast some light onto this field, and I could see through the trees. So it was fall, so I think it was like October. So there was no leaves on the trees. So I could see right through the little bit of trees that were there, and I could see them running up and down. So they would run towards the back of the house, but in the field, like they were going to go into the woods, because behind my house was nothing but woods for miles and miles and miles. But they would run towards the woods, and then they would run back out to the road, and then they would run, and I was like, oh man, why are you guys freaking out? It's just coyotes. And then as I'm saying that, there's this little coyote. It was small and petite, so I could say it's a female. It could have just been a young coyote. Doesn't really matter the sex, but it was a small coyote, and it come down my driveway limping. So it must have gone out onto the road, came around the rock wall and the trees and stuff, and came down my driveway. My driveway is pretty long. And it's limping, and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to go out there and save this thing or something. So I go around to my front door, and my dogs come around with me. They leave my bedroom with me, and they come to the door, and they're barking their heads off and scratching at the door, but I don't want them to come barreling outside at this freaking little coyote that's injured in my driveway. So I'm kind of like standing there, like hesitant to go outside. I'm like, I don't want to, again, like I don't want to go outside and risk my dogs freaking
If they're in
going
a
after
pack,
this little
then
thing. So
if they're by themselves, you really don't have nothing to worry about with coyotes. 9 out of 10 times they'll run away from you if they're by themselves or an outcast. They won't attack you. They try to get away. But now if they're all together, that's a different story. It's the pack that you
right,
gotta worry about. They're worse than hyenas. Coyotes.
yeah, especially when they're hungry.
Yeah. But if they're by themselves, they're not really going to attack. They'll try to go away. But this one here doesn't sound normal. The one that you're talking about.
No, it wasn't.
I don't know
so
how
I
it could have
turned.
got hit by a car or something. I don't know.
Yeah, right. So
Be careful
I
in
flicked
Maine.
my outside light on.
Did you hear about the college guy up there that caught a dire wolf on camera a few years ago? In Maine?
No, I did not.
There's a video
No,
of
I
it
didn't hear
all
that.
over YouTube. He was up on some lake up in Maine on vacation from college with his dog, and he looked out across the yard after he let his dog out to go to the bathroom, and he looked out the window and he could see this large lump of what looked like jet black, laying in the grass. I mean, the thing was huge. And as soon as his dog went out there, this thing stood up, chased his dog. But when it came into full view and was standing there, it was the extinct dire wolf. Huge.
No shit.
Up there in Maine.
I'd never heard that.
All of these, I don't know what the video was, but it was insane. I do watch you, and I do watch Jeff Nadonley's channel too, because y'all's. I've heard some crazy Dogman. Yeah, I've heard yours before a few times because I like it. I've heard his. I haven't heard his yet.
Okay.
But Matt Emsch, have you heard his story yet? The guy from Ohio.
I have not. I'm not familiar with who that is.
He's got a YouTube channel called Planet 412 or something like that.
Okay.
Matt Emsch is his name, but his Dogman story is what made me want to come out. Because it was similar, but the one I saw never disappeared in smoke like his did, though. You were asking me about paranormal. I can give you a good one.
Yeah, let's hear it, man.
I don't remember how long ago it was or what year it was, but I was a teenager when this happened. I lost one of my best friends in Newberry, Florida. His name was Sean. And I wanted to wait for everything to die down before I go to pay my respects to his grave or whatnot. I wanted to do it on one of my own type thing. So I went, but there was 4 other of our friends that went with me. We went, I paid my respects. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I wasn't provoking. I wasn't doing anything negative. I was just being respectful. Well, as we're all leaving, I get just past the flagpole at the Newberry Cemetery, and I was a big guy back then. I was a heavy guy, and all of a sudden I got picked up by something that I couldn't see with my naked eyes. It lifted me 4.5 feet off the ground and threw me across the cemetery.
Oh,
In
jeez.
front of the 3 other people that saw it. That,
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Did
that
you
scared me.
run? Did you burn the did you
I
burn
got
the
thrown.
did you
I
burn the
got.
frickin' graveyard down after that?
I never went back. I know there's
Yeah,
all
no, I don't blame you.
where I live in Florida. I live not far from the University of Florida. I live
Okay.
in small town Alachua County, Florida, north central Florida, right outside of Gainesville. I'm right between
Oh,
High Springs,
nice.
Newberry, Trenton. I'm less than an hour from Cedar Key, where I'm at. But there's all farmlands out here. But with all of the construction, all of these creatures are losing their habitat. Me and my friend just a couple of years ago, we saw the rake in a cave in a local sinkhole over here in my neighborhood. There's 2 Bigfoots in my neighborhood.
What?
I know where there's a vampire grave
What?
at. A legit.
Damn, son. Well,
There's a lizard man.
how did you stumble across the
The
rake with
rake.
your friend?
There's a local sinkhole
Yeah.
where a lot of people used to do some illegal dumping when I lived in this neighborhood where I live at. Around a bunch. I live
Yeah.
near the motocross park Gatorback. Dirt bike
Nice.
track, the famous one of the roughest tracks in the country. I live not that far from it, in that same area. I live around all the rock quarries out here, the lime rock pits by the cement plant and stuff. So there's all kinds of hidden things out
Mm-hmm.
here, and a lot of caves. There's a lot of hidden buried treasures
Mm-hmm.
out here that are still waiting to be found. But me and a buddy used to go to this sinkhole where I used to get my scrap metal out when I was a kid growing up. I kept it a secret from a lot of people so they wouldn't take the metal that I needed to go to the scrap yard. But I cleaned it out, me and one of my friends, but we never really told too many people about it because it is a nice little hole. It was a honey hole. I mean, I made over $100 off of that hole in one day. So I wasn't going to tell anybody, and prices were good back then. So I was not going to share that
Right.
location. But me
Don't
and
blame you.
another friend went to go by and look, and there is a spot when you're looking down into it. It goes back to a curve where like this lime rock wall comes out, but it goes back like there's something back there. And when we went down in there one day with no weapons, just our cell phones, not even the proper flashlight or anything to protect ourselves. But when we went around the corner and we looked up, but when we walked into this tunnel, it was made out of old red brick like you would see in a subway. It was like a brick
Oh.
tunnel entrance. It was
Uh-huh.
crazy. I never knew it was back there. Well, we went to walk in it, and as I'm shining my light and he's shining his light, our flashlights on our phone down this dark straightaway, that's when we saw this like hairless, bald, gray colored creature crawling on all fours coming at us. Never seen us, never picked its head up to show its eyes, but it was coming straight at us. We didn't stick around long enough to see what it was, but it was human.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would have tucked tail and turned and ran as well as soon
I
as I
know.
saw it. So I don't blame you one bit.
Yeah, it was scary. And I
I
never
can
knew
imagine, man.
I never knew that was here. I know there's a few cryptids around here that I didn't know were here until I stumbled upon it by accident.
Yeah. Yeah. So with the Bigfoot that's in your area, have
There's
you
2 of
seen
them.
it
Yeah,
or
I've
have you
seen it's
heard
a
it?
male and female. They're a family,
Okay.
and they're always together. And they live in
Nice.
the rock pit, in one of the rock pits that Senator Kirkpatrick used to own in my neighborhood. That's where those 2 Sasquatches live. but it's now owned by the cement plant, so nobody's allowed to go in there. There used to be a mentally challenged handicap fishing camp back there that the old Senator Kirkpatrick had to help mental people go be able to
Okay.
go fishing and in these rock pits out here. You could throw any kind of lure, bait, anything. You're gonna catch something because they're always hungry. That's
Uh-huh.
why he did it. He had feeders out there, but he had a way to lower kids in wheelchairs on boats out there until he passed away. But now the cement plant bought that land back, so now nobody's allowed to go down there anymore. And the last time I was down there was a huge gator back there.
Nice. I think that's not only do you have these cryptids to worry about, like the Dogman that you saw. You don't ever want to see that again, like you
I
said.
don't go
But you
outside
also
at
have
night,
to.
not around here.
Okay. Do you think that the Dogman is more of a nighttime creature?
I honestly, that's the first time I've ever seen anything like that. I can't find
Okay.
anything that looks close to it. I've tried
Mm-hmm.
researching I never thought those things existed here in our country. I thought they were native to England, according to everything that I
Oh,
found
okay.
out. Uh, Through the research myself that I learned, I thought that they're not even a part of our culture. I mean, you can't even find wolfsbane here anywhere in our
Right.
country. I mean, but to me, a lichen, a dogman, a werewolf, they're all the same thing to me. But everybody in every culture
Yeah.
is different, so they're going to have different names for it. But whatever I saw,
Right.
this thing would have made Lucian from Underworld look small.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it
Um.
would have made his
So
brother
that
look
that brings
small.
me to
But
damn son.
yeah, this thing was
Um.
huge.
I,
I don't ever want to see it again. I don't even
yeah.
think
No, I
anything
don't
would be
blame
able
you.
to hurt it. Honestly, yeah,
Yeah, I can't.
I don't
I
know
can't
where it came
imagine.
from because it wasn't matted. The hair wasn't matted. It it
Hmm.
looked like somebody
It
was
looked
taking
clean.
care of this thing. There was no stench.
Damn.
This thing looked like it was cared for. Like maybe a military experiment gone wrong. I don't know, but this
Sometimes
thing.
that's what I think they are.
Why else would the government cover them up?
Exactly.
I can understand not
You
creating
know.
the worldwide panic thing, but at the same
Right.
time, I mean, I just pray that they don't try to silence me because of what I saw. This
Right.
thing,
Well, I hope they don't either.
the eyes and the tail and the claws and the teeth is what threw me off with this thing. The claws were
Yeah.
just one claw I saw was at least 16 inches long, maybe 18 inches around.
Shoot.
Yeah, and it's
Oh
just one of its canines looked like it belonged to a T-Rex. Just one,
man, that's a
and
big old
the
dog.
tail. But this thing, you can clearly tell it was part human, part dog. I don't know what it was, but that I've never seen a dog with a tail like that, or the eyes.
What's up, everybody? So this is the point where we lose audio for Mark. I didn't realize that when I put all this shit together, just because I guess I was zoomed out too far. I could still see the audio lines through the whole thing. I didn't realize that his audio was completely gone. So I edited I edit all the stuff where I'm just talking to myself, where it seems like I'm talking to myself. I took all that out, throwing this video in there to let you know what happened. I couldn't save the audio, so I tried really hard once I realized. But I do want to give a shout out to someone who did let me know, and that is the the thing only cats can see. 963. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you for commenting. Because I definitely missed that. Yeah. So lesson learned, make sure the audio is there before you fucking put it together. All right. Yeah, so I'll just roll the last little bit here and, get you guys to if you're interested, like, follow, share, subscribe and all that shit. But Mark did say that you can comment on the YouTube or whatever, and he'll see it if you have questions for him. So he did give out his email, but at this moment in time I can't remember it. Maybe I'll put it in the show description. So but thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Well, for the listeners, I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed Mark's story. Again, like he said, if you have any questions, he's more than happy to answer them. So go ahead and ask him if you have questions. But other than that, if you don't mind, like, follow, share, subscribe, leave a rating and review. Those are the best ways to help the show grow. If your catcher doesn't allow you to leave a rating or review, please consider doing so on the website, which is where the Weird Ones Are podcast.com. There you can find some merch like this hoodie, the hat, the t-shirt behind me. I also have a ton of other designs in there for you to check out. I have some hot sauce and some coffee, some supplements, and there's short stories on the website as well. Also, don't forget, every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central is Weird Java in the morning. I do a morning show with my buddy David, and David has decided to put out a podcast himself called David Don't Know, so stay tuned for that for the end of May. But other than that, everybody, I hope you enjoyed Mark. Mark, you had a crazy story. I was very enthralled by it. It's I really hope I never encounter something like that. But yes, exactly. So with that being said, everybody, you absolutely know the drill by now. Question everything and stay weird.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.
Because in the end, none of us have very long on this earth. Life is fleeting. And if you're ever distressed, cast your eyes to the summer sky, when the stars are strung across the velvety night, and when a shooting star streaks through the blackness, turning night into day. Make a wish.